WWE fan, if you're a pro wrestling fan, if you're still awake, it's Saturday morning. 4:21 is when the show ended. What show? The WWE Hall of Fame ceremony. I have a few friends that I wonder if they forgot this thing was on. Here in the United States, it was on Peacock, and I think in other countries it was on Netflix. And I thought it was good. I mean, I think a lot of people will probably complain that on the East Coast it's ending at 4:20 in the morning. I don't really have a problem with that, but I also, my sleep schedule is off. There is two errors. I don't know if this is WWE rewriting history, but both in the video tribute to Lex Luger and in DDP's Hall of Fame speech induction for Lex Luger, they try to make it seem like the Lex Express led to Lex Luger body slamming Yokozuna on the Intrepid. It was actually the reverse. Lex Luger turned babyface on the Intrepid. He was a heel going up into that situation with the body slam challenge on the 4th of July, I believe. And so Luger on the Intrepid slamming Yoko, that came before the U.S. Express, the Lex Express, before the Lex Express, and then the Lex Express led to SummerSlam. They had a very stupid count-out victory for Luger, and it was his only title shot. So even though he won the match, he didn't get the title. Hold on. Oh, look at that. I didn't want the green screen. Oh, what the hell? All right. So I'll just leave this for now. What happened? What was the next thing to happen on this show? This is absurd. This is what happens when you mess around with too many settings. So then the next thing, I thought the DDP speech for Luger was pretty good. I thought Luger's induction was good. I thought that the legacy stuff was pretty interesting. They finally put in our buddy Ivan Koloff, who hadn't been in before, and they put him in the legacy wing. The legacy wing got a lot of attention tonight. Kamala, Ivan Koloff, Dory Funk. I thought that Dory Funk was already in, to be honest with you, with his sons, but apparently that was not the case. I mean, it does feel at times that the WWE kind of makes stuff up as they go along with this Hall of Fame. That's okay. What did you guys think? If you want to leave a comment, if you have any specific thoughts or questions about this Hall of Fame as far as what I thought. Overall, I thought it was good. And like I said, I'm up anyway. I have a weird sleep, life. My sleeping is odd. I thought the show was good. The Austin Brett thing, I enjoyed that. I thought that was pretty good. I did think it was kind of an oversight. I'm not really sure if they invited Ken Shamrock to attend as the referee, like for him to be there on stage with Brett and Austin, or at least be in the audience. I have heard some podcasts with Shamrock where he basically has said that for whatever reason, the WWE doesn't really consider him part of their extended family. So I'm not really sure what the heat is on Ken Shamrock. He did win the first TNA version of the NWA World title back in 2002, but I would like to think they've gotten over that. But yeah, I mean, I thought the Luger thing was good. Who else do we have? The Natural Disasters. I thought that was a nice thing. I thought Tenta's son was a good speaker. I thought Tenta's son had one of the better speeches of the night. It was succinct. It was earnest. They didn't get into the dwelling details of Tenta's career. They could have talked about the Singh era in Calgary Stampede, but they didn't. I thought Ottoman had a cane, but he looked pretty good. So I thought that was nice. I thought the Natural Disasters segment was good. What else did we have? The MICHAEL McCool, I guess that's worth discussing. I didn't have as much of a problem with inducting MICHAEL McCool as other folks did. I think a lot of people, at least that I saw, they had exception to MICHAEL being inducted. I didn't really have a problem with that. I thought that was okay. I mean, they've inducted a lot of people into the WWE Hall of Fame. you could kind of make an argument for or against just about anybody. There really is no set guidelines. Yes, she's probably getting special treatment because, she's Undertaker's wife. But, they made a fairly decent case for her tonight. I mean, she was the first Divas champion. I've debated with specifically Mike Monty on the Monty and the Pharaoh. He doesn't think that Bray Wyatt should be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, which I really disagree with. I mean, Bray Wyatt, he'll be going in at some point. I'm surprised he hasn't been in for the last 2 years, because the last 2 Hall of Fames he could have been put in posthumously. But for me, I think sometimes with the older wrestling fans, you're trying to hold wrestlers from that are younger than you. You're not giving them the same thing. You're not giving them the same respect of when you were a kid. If you like Chief Jay Strongbow or Haystack Calhoun, or if you were a kid when Stone Cold Steve Austin was the top wrestler, you may not look at a younger wrestler with the same amount of respect, like a Michelle McCool or AJ Styles or whoever. I'm just making a point that I think as kids, when you're 5 or you're 13 or you're even 18 or 19, you're always going to look up to these wrestlers. And when you get to be the point where you're at just the same age or even older than the wrestlers, you don't look up to them as superheroes. You look up to them as just regular people. So in my opinion, McCool can go in. If anything is against her, it's just... it's just the fact that her run wasn't that long. Country Boy has a good line here. You look like you used to play the hell out of a drum set. Well, I appreciate that, buddy. I have been growing. The secret to long hair is to not cut it. That's my insight for you. And this bandana is kind of my new gimmick. It keeps the hair out of the eyes. At least it tries to. What else? McCool's speech, it sounded like she had dry mouth. I mean, I noticed these things because I suffer from dry mouth a lot. So it seemed like pretty much everybody could have really benefited from a pitcher of water. I don't understand how the WWE, maybe it's a throwback to when, the water coolers got taken out of Titan Tower during the Monday Nitro Wars. But how come the wrestlers and all the people getting inducted don't have a nice pitcher of water just to clear their goddamn throats? Because Michelle McCool she was doing the dry mouth thing, which people have accused me of in the past, and it is a bit annoying, to be honest with you. So Michelle, her and Taker really see themselves as like the Tony Robbins couple of wrestling. Like Undertaker's doing all these, speeches and all his crap. And Undertaker's Hall of Fame speech, I guess 3 or 4 years ago, was like a little motivational speech deal. And now he's got his wife doing it too. And I thought it was nice. I mean, she does have that southern kind of twang in her voice, it can kind of be, cute and attractive, but also annoying. But she looks good. I mean, I think Michelle, she said she was born in 1980, so she'd be 45. I mean, you're not going to find too many 45-year-old women who look as good as her, so credit there. We're starting to get a feeling, or at least I am. I'm guessing some of you have seen that. There's like kind of this inner circle now in the wake of Vince McMahon's reign. Heyman, the conciliary, as Triple H called him, the Godfather reference, which I thought was interesting. Undertaker, Shawn. There's like this little pack, this rat pack of Triple H, Shawn, Taker, and Heyman, and I think Cody's in that pack too, of these kind of power players. And The Rock, although The Rock was not there tonight, at least I don't think he was. It's a little power group. Saying that made me think of, was it Triple H? As I said that, the Triple H reference to Heyman as the conciliatory, or the Godfather reference. What else can I say about this? Thanks for making a comment. Going to live events are super pricey these days, money grab. Okay, I can rattle on that. I mean, the only WWE events I've gone to live in the last 5 or 6 years have been NXT live events, the house shows. So I'm trying to think of the last, major arena show for WWE I went to. I know that I went to a SmackDown, specifically in Providence, Rhode Island, when the Dudleys came back. Like the Dudleys had come back on a Raw, and then I think they just did a promo or a run-in, and then they were going to make their in-ring return. This is going back 10 years ago. The Ascension, which were basically job guys at that point on SmackDown. So I actually bought a ticket just to see the Dudleys. And a few years later, me and a friend of mine, Tommy, we saw a Seth Rollins, John Cena table match at the Providence Civic Center. And AJ Lee versus Paige had a 2 out of 3 falls match, which was actually pretty good. So that's been a while for the arena shows. And I'm trying to think if I'm forgetting one. But I've gone to several of the NXT live house events, and you can see photo montages on the shorts on this channel on One Pro Wrestling and Sports Fan, Mike Messier stuff. Since money grab, since WWE and UFC merged, yeah, you're bringing up a big topic here. And concerts, musical concerts for rock bands, even bands that are not in their heyday, everything is really expensive. It's a luxury item, and I think the days of like fans just going to things and spending $30 or $40 for a ticket or even less for pretty well-known rock bands or sports events, unfortunately, it seems like those days are over. So, I don't know. I mean, I think for me, like I said, the WWE NXT house shows in Florida are basically $25 and $15. That's your 2-ticket price, $25 for the front row, $15 for everything else. Yeah, Gibbs67, who I think is a new commenter. I don't think I've seen you comment here before, so thanks for joining us. If you want to say what country you're in, I assume most people are in the USA, but a lot of times people from around the world are finding my channel here. And like I said, if you're a wrestling fan, watch Ox Baker, One of the Boys, Wrestling Son, my movie with John Cronus from ECW. Some other wrestlers are in that. My stuff with Raven is pretty hilarious. Chris and the Coffee Girl, The Philadelphia Experiment. The lead video on this channel is me and the Sandman, but there's a whole 3-minute thing of that. Canada, Ontario. Well, very good. As you know, Messier, I assume, is a Canadian national hero, Mark Messier. But that's not me. I'm Mike Messier. What else? So we had the Disasters. We had Luger. We had Ivan Koloff, Kamala, and Dory in the Legacy wing. Who am I forgetting? Who am I forgetting? I mean, the Triple H speech was pretty long. Who else? Who else was in this thing? McCool. You excited for WrestleMania, John Doe? Yeah, I mean, I'm relatively excited. I mean, for me, buddy, it's a good thing. I'm in a situation now where I don't have really any family. I moved to Florida alone, and my family is mostly in New England. And so, Easter, WrestleMania is basically my Easter, which is fine. And I'll be doing live streams after both nights. So I'm looking forward to WrestleMania. And also, I have a thing, buddy, and maybe some of you guys can relate to this. I have a lot of stuff to do at home. And a lot of times I don't want to stay home to do the stuff I have to do. But when there's some type of big television event, it kind of grounds me. It's kind of like I can have the wrestling on. Especially the Hall of Fame was great. And you might be wondering, well, gee whiz, Mike, what the hell were you doing all night while the Hall of Fame was on? Weren't your eyes glued to the set? In a way, but I was also framing my wonderful artwork. And I have about 500 of these paintings now that I'm trying to sell. So these are all original Mike Messier artworks. But basically, as the Hall of Fame is going on until 4:21 Eastern Standard Time, I'm sitting here with packages of empty frames and packages of unframed paintings and putting my paintings into frames. So I have things to do and the wrestling, like I said, it's kind of like a good excuse or a good validation because I can multitask, and I enjoy multitasking. So there you go. This one you guys might get a kick out of, which I'm actually going to color in. This is my Joker do. Joker and the Lady Gaga. I thought the movie was pretty good, by the way. I saw it twice. A lot of people shat all over it last summer, but I liked it. I have no one to watch wrestling with, and public gatherings are a lot harder to find these days. Hey, Lou, I hear you, buddy. Yeah, I mean, even one of our Gonzo, I've reached out to a few times to meet me at one of these movie theaters. In years past, they would have even SummerSlam with Cena and Roman was at a movie theater. I don't know if you guys remember this, but I was actually in the movie theater doing a live broadcast because I was the only one in the theater. It was the Cena Roman Reigns SummerSlam, and they had it on the big screen in the movie theater, and I was the only one in there for the whole goddamn time. So I was doing a live stream in the movie theater, and it only cost $10. Yeah, the public gatherings for wrestling are harder to find. I think the only thing that I've seen recently is AEW sometimes was doing Dave and Buster's, and I have a problem with that because I kind of think that the AEW pay-per-views go so long that Dave and Buster's is going to close, and then they're going to kick you out like in the middle of Osprey doing a fucking 5-star backflip or something. Ox Baker's scenes and Escape from New York were awesome. Yeah, if you get a chance, buddy, look up Ox Baker, One of the Boys. It's probably my second or third most viewed video on this channel, but Ox Baker was actually a friend of mine. I actually read a poem at his funeral, and that poem is in the Ox Baker, One of the Boys movie on this channel. Thoughts on Cody Rhodes? For me, he's just blah, LOL. I can see that. I can see him being blah. I guess I kind of buy into it. I feel like of all the, like for instance, I just have the TV still in the background here, and I guess this was a WrestleMania press show, like a live interview, and Damian Priest is on. Damian Priest is an example of a guy that I just don't relate to. I just don't get. I think he has a cool look. He kind of has a Diesel, 1994 type of look. But I don't think Damian Priest is a good wrestler. I think he's, what I've described him as, is choppy. Like it looks like he's thinking about his moves or his sequence of moves before he does them. So a modern day guy that I don't like is Damian Priest. I don't, nothing personal. I just don't think he's a good wrestler. As far as Cody, I kind of buy into it, because his dad, Dusty, and his brother were wrestlers that I've come up with as a fan. So I kind of buy into the Cody Rhodes bullshit. I have been to 2 WrestleManias, 18 and 23 in Detroit and Toronto. Those are 2 good ones. So 18 was The Rock and Hogan and Triple H and Jericho, and the women's match was in between them, which was Victoria, who was it? Victoria Trish Stratus, and was it not Jackie, but the lady from ECW who married the other wrestler, Red Dog. What's her name? You know who I'm talking about. And the 123 was Cena versus Michaels, correct? And that was also Trump and McMahon and Mark Henry and The Undertaker in a casket match, I believe. Or was that actually... No, Henry and Taker were 22. 23 was Taker and Batista, the 5th match on the show. Cena and Michaels closed the show. Bobby Lashley versus Umaga. And there you go. That's about all I can remember. But 18, you had DDP, I think, beat Christian. Was that for the European title? I believe Booker T wrestled Edge at 18. Is that true? And 18, trying to think of what the tag team match would have been. Was it a 4-way tag team match? Was it like one of those 4-team matches? Okay, Ox's scenes were filmed at Union Station in St. Louis. Says Lou, what would Lou Thez do? Classy venue now. Yeah. I need to rewatch that movie. I haven't seen it in a long time. I remember him as dashing Cody Rhodes, Randy's Legacy, and Stardust. I just don't see him as a top guy, LOL. And that's a good point, John. And I think, basically you're repeating what Triple H said at the time that Cody left, which I think was 2014 or 2015. That I think the famous story that Cody told at the time was that it was Triple H himself who said, we all have our place on the card and you just have to accept yours, or something to that effect. And Cody did not want to accept it, and he wrote apparently this open letter, and he even threw out some accusations of guys taking advantage of the women wrestlers, which they kind of bury that story. But if you go back to Cody's initial, leaving the WWE open letter, I think he does mention. I remember it clearly. He mentions some, some backstage guys being a little bit, hashtaggy to the women wrestlers. But I hear you, man, and that's one thing, buddy, John. I mean, for instance, Jinder Mahal. When they shove somebody too quickly from the lower card to the championship level, it can be disheartening. But I think with Cody's case, I mean, he left the company. Helped. I don't think he made AEW by himself. They try to tell that story now, but it was Tony Khan's money. It was Cody was kind of the leader, but you also had the Young Bucks and other people, and Jericho and Moxley coming in helped. But Cody certainly did his part, or at least he takes credit for his part for AEW. Talman S. Naito has a religious message here on it's. So what's the day? Today's Saturday. So Sunday is technically Easter. Sunday is Easter. Good Friday just came and went. So what is today, Talman? Since you're our resident expert here. Hey guys, I just want to say that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. And the life, the Lord is real and good. MICHAEL McCool did have a shout out to the big JC tonight, which was nice. MICHAEL, mentioned Good Friday. I guess a lot of things apparently happened. Like this was the anniversary of Triple H's parents, and that other dude, his 55th work anniversary, and Good Friday, and all these wonderful things. Talman once again exalting Jesus Christ. He is waiting for you to come to him, get to know and understand him by reading the Bible. Now, what company does Jesus work for now? Is he in AEW? Gib, correct on all. I don't know if you're agreeing with me or Talman. Hogan Rock, biggest crowd pop ever. So I think you're agreeing with me, remembering all these matches with my savant-like memory of this stuff. Renee Orton says Sammy Smollett. I'm not sure what your comment is. If you are you thinking of Renee Dupree? I'm not sure what you're talking about with Randy Orton or Renee. Victor Meldrew's brother Tim. Who would your dream? This is a good question, buddy. Thank you, Victor. Who would your dream match be with the current WWE roster? That's a really good question. I like this CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns match. I know that's not a dream match because it's an actually booked match. Here's one for you. I'm going to hit you out of left field, buddy. Jade Cargill versus Lash Legend. Now, Lash Legend is a NXT women's wrestler. I've seen her many times at these NXT house shows. She was in the Royal Rumble this past year, the Women's Royal Rumble. Dare I say, African-American lady, built like a fucking shit brick house was what we used to say. She's very muscular. To me, she's comparable in like power-wise. I mean, if you had a bench press contest, I think she would probably beat Jade Cargill, honestly. She's just not quite as sculpted. Jade Cargill has that action figure physique, which is really impressive, not to be misogynistic, but considering that she's had a daughter, she's had a child for Jade Cargill, and I don't know, how she gets that body. I would imagine she lifts weights like crazy and has a great exercise and a great diet. But Jade Cargill looks fantastic, but I'm telling you, this Lash Legend lady from NXT who's just now coming up to the main roster, I think she and Jade, if they both can do a good match, I think that's going to be really good. And if and when it ever happens. So there's one for you, buddy. Let me think if I can think of anything else. You can throw out some names for me, and I'll try to put something together. But I gave you one at least. Okay. Thoughts on Jey Uso winning the Royal Rumble? Good question, John. Good topic. I think it's fine. I think here it is. If Jey Uso does not beat Gunther for the title, for that version of the World Heavyweight title, which I have a dispute with, I don't like it when one company has two world champions. It makes absolutely no sense. It's like the NFL having a Thursday Night Football Super Bowl champion. It's stupid. Just the two world title things where one company makes absolutely no sense. You don't have two Oscar-winning films every year. They did do that once. The first year of the Oscars, they actually had one Best Picture for best, like big box office movie and one Best Picture for Best Art House type of movie. Look that up. But the Oscars ever since have only done one Best Picture, one World Series champion, one Super Bowl champion. Why does the WWE need two world champions? If the answer would be because they need one for SmackDown and they need one for Raw, well, how come Cody and Gunther have both been on Raw on the same show for several months every week? Going back to the Jey Uso thing, if Jey Uso does not win the title from Gunther, they're basically positioning him like Booker T at that WrestleMania 18 one of you guys went to, right? So, I mean, when Booker T did not beat Triple H for the title, he looked like a clown. I mean, he looked horrible. And so if Jey Uso does not do that, now I've heard some speculation. I think it was the Wrestle Talk guys, the British guys. I think they were speculating that maybe Jey Uso is going to turn heel. But I don't quite get that because I think that would be a really dumb move to turn Jey Uso heel if he doesn't beat Gunther or whatever they would do. I mean, I suppose they could have Jimmy Uso help Gunther beat Jey Uso in some type of weird way and just have the Usos feud with each other again. But we've seen that before, and they're not really good with wrestling each other. Like the Hardy Boys were not good with wrestling against each other. All right, buddy. So what do I think? I think it really depends. The success of this angle with Jey Uso, they should just do the simple thing. Give the good guy underdog the title over the bad guy heel. If they prolong that, if they try to stretch this feud to SummerSlam, I think that's a mistake. I think that buries Jey Uso alive. That's similar to Lex Luger getting the countout victory over Yoko, or even worse. I think Booker T was never the same after he lost to Triple H at WrestleMania 18. Let's see. So Victor, going back to my dream match, that makes sense. They have similar physiques. Yeah, I think Lash Legend and Jade Cargill, just as a physical thing, it would be really interesting. TNA is much better than WWE now. Well, that's a good take, Free Fire. Believe it or not, I actually have a short video on this channel, why I stopped watching TNA wrestling. And that video is about 6 years old, so I haven't seen it. I do like that Josh Alexander guy, but he was in TNA, I believe, right? And he is now in AEW. TNA, I was a fan of when they had those Jax action figures, like they had like all the articulations, and I had a bunch of those. I sold a lot of them, but they were really good action figures. And I went to the Kurt Angle, Samoa Joe Lockdown pay-per-view in Worcester, Mass, which for a long time was their highest attendance ever. It was like 5,500 fans. I was there for that. I was a big fan of TNA for a long time, buddy, and the reason why I fell off the TNA bandwagon is Cody was one of these guys. They would have some guy come in, usually from WWE, whether it was Alberto or Cody or whoever. They'd build up this wrestler with name recognition for a few weeks, and then that person would be gone. And Cody, I believe, and Brandy were two of those, and I think a guy that I know personally, Mike Bennett and Maria Kanellis, they were two of those that TNA would try to get us all worked up for somebody, and then they would lose them. So I know TNA has had some ownership changes. The other thing I didn't like during the pandemic was the whole Tessa Blanchard. Who's that nasty guy with the baseball bat? And then the Brian Cage, like this. And yeah, you know, Tessa Blanchard was a great athlete, but she's beating men, and she's not like China, or even Jada Cargill, where she's huge or muscular. Like Tessa Blanchard is a small person. So for her to be in there and for Brian Cage to be flopping around like a fish for her, I don't think his career has profited from that, okay? So I'm not saying you're wrong, but I just haven't really watched TNA in a long time, buddy. I haven't watched John counters to Free Fire Editing King, who's the TNA guru here. John says, I haven't watched TNA at all. I have heard the older years of TNA was good. And I would say so. I would say somewhere in my confines, I have a DVD. It's actually a Blu-ray disc set, bootleg, of TNA's Asylum year, like the first half year in the 2022, those pay-per-views, the weekly pay-per-views. And I do think that even into the Universal Studio years, I liked a lot of what they did. I even liked their ECW pay-per-view in the summer of, I think that was 2010, when they brought Hardcore Justice. So I liked old TNA, and I mean, was it Hogan and Bischoff? I mean, I don't think it was them that ruined it, but I think maybe that's a good, time marker of when it went to shit. And they went from Spike TV, and they had that period of 2 or 3 years where they kept getting lesser and lesser TV coverage. Every time we turned around, they were on a weaker channel. TKO ruined the WWE. You would be in the minority with that opinion, but that's fine, buddy. I mean, if you want to expostulate, if that's the word, tell us why. Is you just don't like the creative direction? You think it's... I mean, one thing that I don't like as a UFC fan, I don't like UFC and WWE under the same umbrella. So, I mean, but I'd like to hear more of your thoughts on that one. Lou says, hope TKO fixes the multiple title issue. Well, they haven't so far. And I mean, when Seth Rollins won that tournament, that was in the summer of 2023, correct? When he beat AJ Styles in the finals. So that was still under the TKO banner, if I have my time correct. If you could pick, this is Major Carver, if you could pick one juror from AEW that has a realistic chance to become a top main eventer in WWE, who would it be? Well, I'd probably go with MJF. I'm trying to think of what does GER mean? Is that wrestler, or did you just have a speech thing, like a speech type? Do you mean wrestler, or am I missing something? Oh, one younger? Did you mean if you could pick one younger wrestler from AEW? I mean, if we can still say that MJF is younger, I think Christian, as old as he is, I mean, he's not younger, but I think he would be good. I don't think Danny Garcia, I mean, is big enough. I mean, I still go back to the thing with Danny Garcia is a good talent, but he just seems to be doing the same old shit. Like, he's always caught between worlds. He's always, sort of a bad guy, but really has good guy instincts. So I think Garcia's out. I mean, Orange Cassidy is a good novelty guy for AEW. I don't think WWE would push him that far. I mean, I could be wrong. Who else? I think, I mean, if we talk about the women wrestlers, maybe another woman wrestler. I mean, Dr. Britt, it's kind of weird because, she was on such a roll in 2020, 2021. And Dr. Britt, I mean, in theory, maybe they could repackage her for WWE because she's a good talker. And I don't know, though. I mean, I think she has some concussion issues. So, I mean, her best days might be behind her. Oh, I got one for you. Who's the blonde from the varsity team that she became goth? The woman wrestler, very young. She was with Pillman and Giff Garrison, and then she became like a goth Halloween chick, and she's really good. And she's super young and very cute. So who's that? Who am I thinking of, buddy? Female wrestler, you know who I'm talking about. Yeah, you meant younger. So who am I talking about? The blonde female wrestler that was with Aleister Black. I think they could do something with her. I want to catch up on these comments, guys. I appreciate your comments. So let's see. TKO ruined, fixes the multiple title. So I'm going with the blonde chick. Just help me remember her name. It's 4:57 a.m. I'm over the Usos. Yeah, buddy, I mean, if you look once again, 3 or 4 years ago, I did a rant, like a 1-minute rant on this channel, which I basically ranked all over the Usos for their drunk driving. They have a lot of drunk driving on their records, which they haven't had in a while, which I'm happy about. And luckily for them, they never killed anybody, but in a real life thing, I didn't understand these guys that can afford Uber, afford Lyft, and they're still getting DWIs like a couple of idiots. Who would you love to wrestle on the current WWE roster? Who would I love to wrestle? Liv Morgan. I mean, let's just be honest. Yeah. I mean, do you think John Cena will win? That's a great question. I'm gonna predict so. Yeah, I want to predict that Cena will win. I think it could go either way. I mean, that's a way to cover the bases. But yeah, I'll predict Cena to win. I think it's more interesting if Cena wins. If Cena loses, then I think it's more interesting if Cody has to get the title back from Cena. I think that's the way to go. Jay winning is good fan service, won't hurt Gunther. Totally agree with that. Fire editing king gives me a king. If Jey Uso, John Doe, if Jey Uso wins, I can imagine The Rock inserting himself into a title match against Jey. Okay, yeah, that would be interesting. Jey Uso versus The Rock, maybe at a SummerSlam. I think that's interesting. FUU says Samoa Joe was wasted in WWE. I agree. I can't wait for season 2 of Twisted Metal. Samoa Joe had a couple. I thought Samoa Joe should have beaten Brock. Was it the Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view? Was that 2018 or 2017 where Samoa Joe had a one-on-one title match against Brock? I would have pulled the trigger. I would have had Samoa Joe beat Brock because Brock was such a part-timer, which was really tough. If you remember those days, 2017, 2016, WWE was brutal. And I think they could have had Samoa Joe beat Brock. I think everyone would have enjoyed that. One heel beating another heel. WWE loses his viewership after Netflix. I'm not sure what you mean by that. It might have been timely in this thread. I know who you're talking about. That dude is awful. Tessa is good, but her fighting guys was dumb. I first saw her in WoW, Women of Wrestling. You're talking about Tessa Blanchard. Yeah, her fighting guys was dumb. You meant younger, stayed up a bit too late watching the Hall of Fame, so excuse my wrestling typing. I'm right there with you, buddy. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. I think you're talking about Vicky Guerrero. No, man, I'm talking... if you're Julia Hart, yeah, Julia Hart is who I'm thinking of. But Vicky Guerrero, that's pretty funny with her screeching. Yeah, it was interesting that she got an AEW contract. Who's she with? She was with, I want to say Nia Jax, but it was like the transgender lady that was their second women's champion. Who's that? I can't, names. Julia Hart is who I'm thinking of. Hello, said hi. Hello, Adolfo. Nice to see you, buddy. Have you seen Maple Leaf Pro cards yet? I don't think I have. No, I didn't. This is the first I've heard about it. So Scott D'Amore was like a bigwig for TNA, and for whatever reason they kicked him out, which is unfortunate. So thanks for whoever's sending the hearts. I have not seen Maple Leaf Pro cards yet. I guess I can look that up. Scott D'Amore's promotion, and John Doe with the nice smiley face. So somehow, gentlemen, I caught up with all the comments. Major Carver. Were you surprised Dave Bautista wasn't there for Triple H? Yes, I think that was kind of lame. I mean, I'm guessing that he was on a film set, and I have been on film sets, as you know. I've had scenes with Wesley Snipes. I've actually had scenes with Kevin Nash, Diesel in a movie I co-wrote, The Manor. Do you think maybe it was just a filming date complication? I think that's exactly what it was. I think Batista would have been there if he could have been, but he probably was on a film set, and a lot of times... guess what? For the major stars of a movie, when they're on contract to be on set, they can't leave because the studio has so much money invested in them. They don't want to take a chance that the star could have a car accident or have a plane delay or something to miss a day of shooting. So it's quite likely that Batista was on a film set and they wouldn't let him go. I'm not Triple H's brother, but I appreciate the compliment. I do have a Triple H action figure in my car, which has been floating around. And like the action figure has one leg. It's like a 1998 or 99 camouflage Triple H DX action figure, missing half a leg. And I actually used to burn incense in my car when I was driving. How hardcore is that? And the Triple H action figure was holding the fucking incense stick, and I'd be driving around in my car. It actually smells really good. So if you don't blow up your car by lighting the fucking lighter, maybe I'll start doing that again. Thanks for reminding me. Complete cards on YouTube this weekend. I'm not sure what you mean, buddy. Lou, I'm not sure what you mean. I will be doing post WrestleManias both nights live stream. Yes, if that's what you mean. Please say my name, Free Fire Editing King. Please say my name is Viraj. Am the fan of AJ Styles. Well, nice to see you, Viraj. What country are you in, buddy? I mean, if you're in the United States or if you're somewhere else, let us know if you like. Nice talking to you, says John Doe. I subbed, and I appreciate that, buddy. Thanks a lot. I'm subbed, and I'm going to sleep now. See you next time. Thanks, John. Check in after the Manias. We'll be here, buddy. and Rockas and Extra with a nice emoji of a shark. So, guys, I don't know. If you have any more comments, we're hitting the 49 or the 40-minute mark. I am getting a little bit tired now. As you know, I'm somewhat of a, I don't sleep normal hours. I'm sitting here having framed all my wonderful artwork all night while watching this Hall of Fame. For the actual wrestling matches, I'm probably going to lock in more. I'm sure I will, to watch the actual matches. I do like watching. I do like watching the matches at home. You know, when I was a kid, I used to like going to the arenas more than watching at home, even for the pay-per-views. As I get older, I kind of feel like when you pay $100 or whatever. I mean, the last WWE pay-per-view I went to live, I think, was Survivor Series 08 or 09. And it had like, I think Cena beat Jericho for a title. They had three supposed world title changes one night. Christian beat Jack Swagger. Edge came in out of nowhere to beat Triple H and who was the Russian guy? The Viktor Rusev or whatever. Not Rusev, but the Vladimir Kozlov. And like I said, Cena beat Jericho. So there was 3 world title changes in one night. I think McCool might have been there in that Survivor Series match. Beth Phoenix won the whole thing. So that was, and I saw a Backlash either 6 months or before or 6 months after that one, where Randy Orton somehow got the title over Triple H in a 6-man tag, or it was 3-on-1, like Randy Orton, Cody, and Mike DiBiase or Ted DiBiase Jr. against Triple H. Does that make sense? Like a 3-on-1 match. And it was kind of an interesting show, I guess. My last question of the night before I sleep, Major Carver, where do you think they are going with the Punk, Reigns, Rollins angle? Do you foresee the winner getting a world title match? I basically foresee Seth Rollins ending up with Paul Heyman in his corner, and I give you a couple of little hints towards that. When Seth Rollins did his promo, apparently, I think that was on SmackDown tonight. I saw it on YouTube later. Didn't Seth end his promo with, "That's not a prediction, that's a spoiler"? He was quoting Heyman, and I know that he quoted, Punk a few times in that promo, but I think with him ending by quoting Heyman was a little tip of the hat or the bandana to Seth Rollins winning the match and ending up with Paul Heyman, because Heyman's been with Punk, he's been with Roman, so now they got to switch it up a bit. And I think Roman, his character now, or him, Roman Reigns, is good on the mic. And for a long time, when he was the suffering babyface, he was not good on the mic, or the fans did not respond to him. But when he turned heel, he became so good on the mic. Roman's at the point where he doesn't really need a talk person or a spokesman. Neither does Rollins, to be honest with you. But of those 3 guys, the only one that we haven't seen Heyman with is Seth Rollins. So why not do it now? What if you had a power couple of Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch with Heyman? That could be interesting. I don't think Becky Lynch is on WrestleMania this year, but she was at the Hall of Fame, and she was looking pretty good, to give her credit. Major Carver, thanks for the stream, by the way. I subbed to you a long time ago during the early AEW days. Only just recently got back into wrestling after a long hiatus. And that's fine, brother. I mean, we go through these ebbs and flows with our wrestling passion. Sometimes you just have to take a break. I had a video on here a couple of days ago. Maybe you saw it, maybe you didn't, but you'd probably react similarly. I had a video that said why AEW lost its luster for me, and that video is on this channel. You guys are welcome to watch it and share it. Here's a funny piece of art, gentlemen, that I just shared tonight on my Instagram, one Mike Messier Instagram. See if you guys, do you get the joke with this? Is this making you laugh? Some of you are getting that joke, and some of you are not. Like, if you know the story, if you watch enough YouTube clips, that is like the funniest fucking piece of art that I can do for you. If you don't know, you don't know, but if you do, you do. So there you go, gentlemen. All right, so now I'm seeing this Michael Cole Pat thing, like the outdoor press conference. I didn't see this earlier. And maybe I guess something happened with Cody and Cena on this. All right, gentlemen. I'll see you tomorrow night after WrestleMania. Thanks for tuning in. Subscribe, tell your friends, share the video. Thanks for the 3 thumbs up. If you're still here and watching, give it a thumbs up, subscribe. It's your buddy Mike Messier. Tons of shit on this channel, tons of wrestling stuff. Mike's Instant Movie Reviews. If you've seen any movie in the last 5 years, you want to know what I think about it, I've reviewed most movies, and they're on this channel or One Mike Messier YouTube channel. Instagram, X, One Mike Messier, TikTok, One Mike Messier. Thanks, guys.